Hello, Matt here from RetroOnly.com. Today, we'll be talking about whether you can combine Rummikub games. Before we get into that, please be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. Have you ever wanted to play Rummikub with your family or friends, but you had more than 4 people? Have you ever tried to play anyways, but it just wasn't working out very well? Well, a lot of people have this problem, and some people's solution is to simply combine 2 Rummikub games. In this video, we'll go over everything you need to know about Rummikub and what you can and cannot do. So, can you combine Rummikub games? If you need to play with 5 to 8 people, then it is possible to play Rummikub by simply combining 2 separate games. This is actually the easiest way to do this, as you'll be able to keep the same rules as it simply just adds more tiles. However, if you are only playing with 5 people, it can be difficult to make sets if you are using enough tiles for 8 people, which is why there is actually a Rummikub game that is designed for 6 players, to give you enough tiles to play with, more than the traditional 4 players, while also not having way too many by combining 2 games. A link for this 6-player Rummikub game can be found in the description below. If you want to know more about Rummikub and what you can and cannot do, you'll definitely want to keep watching the rest of this video. Is Rummikub popular? The Rummikub game recently has been becoming more popular as people have been spending more time indoors and with their family. A lot of people simply have no clue what to do, and they end up playing this game since they used to play it years ago. Not only does the game kill time, but you get to use your brain more, as well as test your creativity level. There are actually 3 different variations of the Rummikub game, and all the versions have different rules and regulations, although most of the time in the United States, there's only one version that's played, and that's Sabra. You traditionally shouldn't play the normal game with more than 4 players, but you can add more players if you've added tiles to the game or bought the one for 6 players, mentioned earlier. You can also play the 4-player game with 5 to 6 players by simply reducing the number of tiles given to each player slightly. For instance, in the normal game, each player will get 14 tiles to start with if you play with 4 players. But if you want to exceed the limit to more players, say 5 or 6, you could give 9 to 10 tiles to each player. We have seen many people use these tactics, and they even ended up enjoying the game. You may also want to just combine 2 Rummikub games to play with your friends or family. This is really the best option, as everyone can still get the full 14 tiles, as well as play together without quickly running out of tiles. Despite there being extra tiles, it really shouldn't change the game much, since there are more players as well. However, one thing that could happen is that the game will end quicker, since there are more people at the table to play tiles on. You can buy an extra Rummikub game from a variety of local stores, as well as from Amazon, at quite reasonable prices. Now some frequently asked questions. This game is a complete sensation and growing in popularity among kids, teenagers, and adults. The reasons are that this game is interesting and fun, and you can get the game without investing too much of your money, as it's quite cheap and the tiles will likely last for decades without getting damaged. Why is Rummikub so famous? One reason that Rummikub is so famous is that it has been around for a long time, which means there are millions of people all over the world that grew up playing it, so they enjoy passing that on to their children as well. I know I personally grew up playing this game, as did my wife, and now we play it with our children too. Well, the older one anyway. You will want to make sure that you read the instructions and play the game with your family members or friends while following all the rules in it, as sometimes people remember the rules wrong, or they simply played it wrong when they were younger. Also, you can play this game on Facebook for free if you want to enjoy it with friends online. There are thousands of people enjoying this game on social media by challenging their friends to see who has the better mind. Why is it called Rummikub? The game was introduced by an Israeli citizen whose name was Ephraim Hertzano. The game was initially handmade, and when people started to like the idea, he hired a few workers to get things growing and to increase the sales of the game. The game is called Rummikub because the rules are very similar to those of Rummy, but instead of using cards, it originally used cubes, tiles now. Is Mahjong like Rummikub? Mahjong is another game that requires 4 players to play and also uses tiles. This game is similar to Rummy and Rummikub in many ways, but there's a version of Mahjong that allows only 3 players to play the game. Both Mahjong and Rummikub are games of skill, calculation, strategy, and tactics on how to best beat the opponent. So, if you want to give any other game a try other than Rummikub, then this is a great one to try out. What age is Rummikub for? Although everyone can play this game, the makers of the game have set some standards, rules, and regulations for playing the game, and how old you should be to play it. In general, no one under the age of 8 would likely be able to pick up on the different nuances of the game, so the makers recommend it for children 8 and older. However, if your child is especially adept at paying attention, or has been playing card games for a while, then they might be able to play it at a younger age. I will say that my daughter, who is 9, still has difficulty figuring out the maneuvering of tiles on the table without messing them up quite a bit. So if your child is someone who hasn't really played this game or cards before, I personally would recommend 10 to 12 as a great age to start playing this game. What are the rules of Rummikub? There are different rules that you need to follow in order to play this game properly. Next, we will list some important things that you should know about the game before you begin playing it. There are 104 tiles in total, having 4 different colors. And the numbers that are written on these tiles are from 1 to 13. A total number of 4 players can play the game at once, but you can increase the number of players by adding more tiles to the game. The game can be started by turning over 1 tile, and the one who has the highest number on the tile will get to start the game. The game will then proceed in a clockwise direction according to the new rules. Previously, it used to move in a counterclockwise direction. The game has 2 jokers, which can be used to take the place of any other tiles on the table, or in a set that you lay down. If you didn't end up using the joker before someone else goes out, then you will get a penalty of 30 points. When someone finishes laying out all of their tiles, they are declared the winner of the round. Everyone will then add up the total of their tiles left on the rack, and they will get a negative score of that total, and the winner of the round will get a positive score of all the other players' scores. For example, if players 1, 2, and 3 each had 20 points left on their racks, they would each have a negative 20 points added to their score, and the winner of the round would get a positive 60 points. The ultimate winner of the game is the person who reaches a predetermined score first. Normally that score is 200 to 300. If you're playing with more than 4 players, you might need to adjust that number, or even have the winner be someone who wins the most round out of 5 rounds played, or something like that. No matter what version of the game you play, if you follow the rules and do not cheat, you'll have fun. Although some people do not want to play with more than 4 players, it is possible, and the easiest way to play with up to 8 people is to simply add a second Rummikub game, or to purchase the one that allows up to 6 players. By adding a second game, you allow double the amount of people to play than what you were normally allowed to play with, and you are also able to keep the same rules, since you have double the tiles. This game is normally pretty cheap, and sometimes they will even go on sale. And if you've never played Rummikub before, you will find that the game is extremely enjoyable, as well as fun to play for many people. Rummikub has been a great game that has stood the test of time, and is still popular today, just like it was so long ago. If you've played Rummikub before, then you know just how fun the game can be for everyone who plays, assuming that people do not cheat, and that they follow the rules. Sadly, many people do not follow the rules or know the rules of Rummikub, and in the end, this causes them to not play the right way. You will find out that there are a lot of people who actually play with 2 Rummikub games put together. And this is because it's the best way to play if you have more than 4 players. This has been Matt from RetroOnly.com. Please be sure to like and subscribe to our channel, and check out our website, RetroOnly.com.